Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the breakfast show Money Talk with SmartRobie. I hope my voice is coming to you okay. Good morning, Sharad. Good morning, Musa. So it was indeed a good Hari Kebangsaan, or sometimes we call it Hari Kemerdekaan. So I hope the audio is sounded good. And those of you who are listening for the first time, just type 1. And like it or not, on the 31st of August, we did launch our Robie on Bursa Malaysia, and we got a fair bit of download thanks to our big time supporter and also VSA trader chef celebrity Saham, as I said before. So this actually what has happened, and we had a good turnout. We talk about some of the matters in Bursa, and we have also Coach Arif and Chef Saham did talk about our Bursa version, which will help you going forward, those especially who like a bit more conversational with SmartRobie in Bursa. That's definitely the one to go. But Hari Kebangsaan to me was a very special day. As such, I remember when I was small, my dad took me to the parade, right? And that's where we see a lot of tanks. First time we actually see tanks, and we sort of waved the flag. I think you all have your own childhood memory of the Hari Kebangsaan, isn't it? So let's move on to our story that we have for you today. And this morning, as you can see, the KLCI, after falling below the 1540, which I'll talk about, a very dangerous level, today the market is up 5 points at 0.34. So right now, the KLCI market, like it or not, is in a sort of a bearish mode. So, but the good news is there are markets that done pretty well, and you can see from here onwards, the ACE market record one of its best rally ever. If you notice, ACE market was used to be 2007 and 2020. Now we all know what was the reason behind it, isn't it? Right? This is no other than the reason that we usually get was retail participation. We used to have retail participation around 25-23%, but now that has gone up to 35%. That's why ACE market generally are what we call penny stocks, and that's why we've seen this market really moving up. Right? Having said that, so that has been really great going forward. Okay, so this is what we have so far seen here. Okay, so the ACE market also has one of the best gain, even you compare that also to the KLCI healthcare and KLCI technology, right? If you notice, the technology in here hasn't really been a great the healthcare lately has been falling down, but the technology has been taken up that leadership role from the healthcare. If you notice, let me just bring up this laser pointer here. You can see the technology now has taken up that leadership role. The healthcare has dipped back down, but the July month, that was great. And we all know healthcare month, this month, we have seen this market right now is a bit softened up. This is due to what? This is actually due to the vaccine. That's right, the vaccine COVID-19. Now, those of you who don't know about the vaccine, I have done one talk. It's available on the YouTube as well on the Facebook of Martin TF Wong. Just go and watch that one. I talk about those counters and talk about what are the things that you watch about too. So those are but all in all, the ACE retained the kind of momentum for the month of August going forward. All right. Let's move on to our next story for the day. Now we talk about earnings. That's right. Now earnings continue to done very well. Earnings continue to recover in here. You can see very important is the respective sector. Not all sectors actually did well. According to this report from an analyst, the earnings projection going forward for 2021 remain to be very bright. Now for 2020, only 4 sectors, including the stock exchange, of course, right? Because a lot of people are buying shares. So we see this market. So sectors like the glove, consumer, plantation, and logistics seem to do very well. And we did talk about also plantation too, right? And also consumer stocks. We did not touch on the other sectors. Rubber glove, we did a very extensive coverage on that one too. So make sure you check out those videos that we have in here. Now, like it or not, the earnings continue to grow, but what's more important is all sectors for next year. 2021 will do very well. So keep note of that. Again, this is one of the things that we talk about, sector rotational base. And tonight at 9:30 p.m., I will talk about something which I personally have a fair bit, and it's no other than 5G. So stay watch until the end of this program. Now, also right now is the end of the moratorium. That's right, end of the moratorium, bank moratorium. Now, this is the reason is because in this COVID-19, the government has sort of extended loans, and many people, I think about 40% has applied for the loan moratorium, and this is also one of the reasons why we saw, people don't have to pay interest rate and they're putting the money in the stock market. So that's why our stock market really had a very, very big boom going forward in here. But all in all, we find that this is coming to the end, to the 30th of September, I believe. So no doubt our MCO has been extended to 31st of December, but the moratorium will come to end. But then the number of people taking up this moratorium are relatively small. But the banks has found out that there's a loan pickup are much better. They are increasing after MCO. So this does mean a lot of the banking stock will do well. We'll take a look at some of the banking stock. But what's more important, along the same story, they talk about banks actually made very high provision. Means, what does provision means? Now, to a layman, those of you who are watching for the provision means they cater for losses lah. Let's say there's some people cannot pay, so they cater for that. But usually this kind of thing can be reversed back in future and so forth, right? But the chances of it may be very, very good. But at the end of it, the higher provision, it's a safety feature that the banks take working together with Bank Negara. So right now we do see there is some. Let's look at one of my favorite stocks. Let's shift on is Public Bank. Okay, so Public Bank. We'll take a look at the stock chart first, right? So you can see stock chart. Yeah, that's right. Last week we have the market breakdown, because I think this is also due to the foreign funds breaking down. So you notice the last few days the KLCI, the banks came down, but right now I think we are at the low end of the market. But let's look at the fundamental for Public Bank. Okay, I believe the fundamental for Public Bank remain to be 3 out of 8. It's not cheap because it's fairly priced, if you can notice that, trading at a fair price on that one, because the PE and the ROE generally, but it does pay a good dividend. Let's look at the next bank, is Maybank. Okay, Maybank usually examine the same kind of feature or habits or chart setup. Okay, you can see also same, right? It's very hard to differentiate between those two, except Maybank actually fell a bit more, and that we saw the market came back down. So is this an opportunity to buy banking stock? But don't forget, in one of the news that came out yesterday, which I did not cover, there is talk about the September interest rate cuts, which is happening this month. That's right, it could be happening this month, and that's why you see the bank stock continue to fall off the cliff, because adjusting to the possibility of rates cuts, I believe will be 0.25%, taking us somewhere to 1% or 1.25%, depending which bank you look at it. So that is the scenario it is. So what do you think? Do you think will we have another interest rate cut after September? If that's going to take below 1% in here. So that's remain to be seen how popular banking stock is going to be. But I do take note that banking stock generally will not be in the favor for many investors. It's something that you want to take up maybe next year in 2021. All right, let's look at the market right now, the KLCI market in here. All right, it is up just 5 points only. Let's move on to our next story in here. All right. Okay, now in line with the economy momentum upturn, the post-recovery from the ports and also the manufacturing remain to be very, very positive. So this story talk about the Malaysian export for the July figure rose slightly 3.1% to 92.5 billion, one of the highest records so far, as you can see in this story in here. But what really positive is the month-to-month increase, 11.7% compared to June, and that's all pointing to the market moving higher. So you may think, hey Martin, you're saying that the economy is recovering. Why is not our Bursa going down? Our KLCI, as you can say before. Let me just show you what I mean. So if you look at the KLCI where we are, right, what you saw, the breakdown to 1540 are similar to the banks that broke down to. So banks are adjusting to the moratorium, they're adjusting to the interest rate cut. But remember, the bank still is one of the big dominants in the market, perhaps the rubber glove, it's not going to lift this index higher because the COVID-19 continue to hog the headline. So more investors are moving their money out from the rubber glove, which I already stated earlier. If you watch some of the news story we talked about a month ago, we already informed some of the investors to actually move your money out to other sectors like plantation or furniture, which have done pretty well. So right now, the rubber glove is no longer the lead. As I said before, technology, other sectors. Look at the energy on the Bursa sector analysis, something which I will talk about it tonight. All right, let's move on to our next story in here. All right, it's no other than palm oil. That's right. We talk about plantation in here. So the story talk about the chairman Dato Ahmad Jaslan Yaakob talking about India buying more palm oil and the possibility of the CPO prices to rise above 2800. Also, what does this mean? It means a lot of your stock like TAS, okay, resources. Let's look at this chart. Your Ta'an and all this plantation stocks are starting to move up, and this is quite good. Guess what? This is a green pentagon, isn't it? That's right, green pentagon, jalan, right? So that's why sometimes it's good to watch this kind of news we talk about on the breakfast show, SmartRobie, right? So when you see the market move, you know why. For the first time, news tally with the Pentagon guided in there, all right? Now, the oil and gas sector, Muhammad Shafi, that's remained to be very positive. You can look at some of the oil and gas. I think my favorite will be Serber Dynamics for investing. So you can type Serber Dynamics in there for Muhammad Shafi. I think that's a good one too. All right. So this is usually we find that the palm oil plantation follow also the oil and gas. Oil and gas seems to be up. Let's take a look at Serber Dynamics, okay? This is one of the better one. It's not the cheapest. Right? Some people like to play the other small sectors, but let's look at the stock chart. Okay, you can see also sama juga green pentagon sudah datang. Okay, green pentagon sudah datang. Let's look at it today. I wouldn't be surprised if today the Serber Dynamics. Okay, let me just bring it up again. Okay, you can see Serber Dynamics is just slight minus 0.6% in there, but it's looking very, very good for the oil and gas sector in here. I think more importantly is looking at your profile, the types of person that you are. If you're looking at Serber Dynamic, it's rated 7 out of 8. Okay, so that's a very, very good rating with the dividend of 3% in here. Something more for those longer term, investor who don't want to do kind of taking risks. Oil and gas, this is some counter that is good if you like oil and gas. But like it or not, my personal self and for my client, I stay away from commodities because of the fluctuation. I've more in favor of the glove and the technology stock, which something I will talk about it tonight. So make sure you stay with me to the end of the program. Okay, let's move on to our next story. Is no other than father and son and the entire empire. No other than Genting. We know that Genting Malaysia also expanded to Genting Hong Kong with the cruise ship that they have. It's more like a floating casino lah. We have one at the hilltop there in Pahang. So this is the one that we all know during this COVID-19. They face many challenges until a point of time, tak boleh tahan. Right, so they have to default the payment to the creditor, and you all know when you buy a big boats like this one that you see, right, it's very expensive, right? So the story talk about basically Lim Kok Tai, Tan Sri Lim Kok Tai is resigning. I think they're resigning from the Genting, but it's still pretty much coming back to his face. What it's saying is like, I went to conquer Hong Kong, tak boleh. So now I come back to Malaysia. So he has, I believe that there's a news prior to this that he has resigned from the board of the Genting Hong Kong. Someone else has taken up and is reshuffling back his asset, and now they actually sold Genting back to Hong Kong to his son, and the son is also resigning from the Genting Hong Kong. So basically it's like, the family is coming up to chip in the story. So is this a good stock to buy? Now the stocks of Genting Hong Kong has sort of plummeted to 30 cents only, very cheap in Hong Kong. Right, so well, this is going to be a play maybe 2021. Right now, if you're longer term, just wait for the green pentagon. Let's look at Genting Malaysia, GENM. Okay, that's why we have the green pentagon to show to you that you can It's still 225, not yet. Okay, so let's look at the Genting. You want to wait for the green pentagon first. Okay, let's look at Genting. Hit that one and look at the chart formation first. Okay, and it's pretty much the same too. Around 3 ringgit 60 cent, and the trend continued to go down, and it is below the ATR stop loss. So on that matter, if you can see on the left hand side, I wouldn't touch it first. I think that's one of the real benefit for Pentagon Guider, to able to ensure that you don't buy a falling knife or catch a falling knife. Do I say this makes sense? Okay, so thank you for watching. Those of you who have come in, I appreciate if you could share this also in your timeline. And let's move on to our next story. Our next story, and also forgot to mention, they registered a loss of 742.6 million compared to 56 million loss. So all in all, they were already losing coming into it. And like it or not, the cruise business, it's a very, very cutthroat and competitive business. We've seen the likes of also the big one, like the Royal Caribbean, the P&O, the Princess, and all of them, you see in the news, right? Many of them caught the coronavirus during the cruise boat when they go out. Almost 60% of people got it. So that has put a dent to those people who eventually weren't going to come back. They will come back, definitely, for sure. I will still take a cruise ship, but not in the next 1 or 2 years. So you can see this is something that you want to put in the back of your head for longer term investing. All right, let's move on to our next story. Is no other than our news sentiment, how to discover those news for trade idea. Now let's take a look at it. Okay, the earlier one that you see on the right hand side, okay, we have two news. One was Hong Leong Bank Kejaya. Okay, so there was a Kejaya here, right? And very positive, and it's green pentagon. Okay, so that usually gives the takeaway in here. Let's look at Kejaya. We hit the stock comment and the chart. Oh, you can see in here Kejaya is 104, but okay, but if you look at it, this chart here, it just look like it's still moving sideways. Okay, it did hit a high of 112, and Kejaya was, or they win a Gambunda job to build a service apartment. Okay, that's the 1st of September. Also, that's why maybe it hit 112. We all know that property market is a bit soft. No doubt it's coming back. Okay, we have to look at the sectors for those purpose. All right, let's look at the Kejaya. Anything for the news? It will be very similar. Or Kenangan raised earning forecast for Kejaya, so that's why this news came in here. They won one project, and I believe the stock price should be up today. Wow, you see, up 11.8%. So this is really an evidence that you can see, right? Stock price dip in. This is all due to the hands of the analysts, right? If the analyst says, like you can see here, analysts raise earning forecast 11 point Kejaya, they win the Gambunda project, then they just raise it up, and that's why the stock price goes up in here. But so you know who is the culprit, right? Of the smart money. Sometimes the analysts really push up the stock price in here, and you all know, you have seen this before. Also the rubber glove, they wrote about top glove going up to $110, $56. It even struggled at the end. It struggled to remain up to the $26 in here. And like it or not, who benefits? Not you, not me, the smart money, right? So that's why it's very important to read this kind of charts and the news and fundamental too. You want to be buying when no one is interested. Do I say this makes sense? If I make sense, give me a thumbs up in here, and appreciate the kind of work that we continue to do and translate back to putting money in your pocket. All right, let's move on to our next story that we have here for you. Is the stock pick of the day. We have taken Sendai. This is one of the stocks that came out in here. You can see in here Sendai at 26 cents. I think again this is an earnings play. They came back and they did pretty well. So let's put on Sendai. Okay, let me just type Sendai in, and stock chart looks pretty good. Right, and you can see right here a push up today in here. It's already green pentagon since 9 August, so we are coming in just nice in here. Let's look at the news, okay, for Sendai, right? And that's why we want to train all of you. Sendai deliver maiden European shore in here. Again, very similar, right? We've seen this July 21st in their offshore, so it's an energy play. So no one has written or at least talk about Sendai. All right, let's look at Sendai for his charts today. Today is up 3.8%, so that's not too bad. So look at the stock chart, right? I like the setup of the Sendai. Will it fly like previously some of the stocks that we have that we picked last Friday for Censof and Scomnet? You can see on the top right hand side here, this was also up 6.6% in here. But this one is a nice one, the push one, volume comes in, and I think the earnings came down a bit here. So that looks in very, very good too. The chart looks pretty nice. You're coming off from a very low base. So Sendai is this one in here. I will pick another one too. And let's pick another one. Go back to main menu and we go on the premium alert in here. Wow, we got VS. Oh, I like VS, isn't it? We talked about VS, the plastic industry. Just last week, we talked about VS. We talked about what else? Plastic industry. We talked about ATA IMS. We talked about SKP. Remember that? Right? And another plastic, you remember what? Syntax, that's right. So check out that video on the YouTube as well as it. So a lot of things, you've been following me around when I talk about this. These are no stranger to you. So Iconic is a consumer product. We know consumer. JCY is really running. That's a good stock too. Again, Asia Play, Lotus. Lotus one. This one is they came out from PM17 and now it's gonna run. So let's look at Lotus. LOTUS. Stock price, and I can see 5% jump. Let's look at the Lotus. I'm more interested in see the shape of the stocks, and this is something that we teach in our masterclass. Okay, those of you who want to know more how you want to get a better stock selection in here. It's all going back to skills, very important. You can see Lotus, very nice. I like this. Okay, you can see take out of the uptrust, which is usually one of the more very powerful stock. But again, Pentagon came in very, very early. So at 25 cents, right now 31 cents. Okay, I like this one. So we'll choose Lotus KFM, which actually is a flour mill play. All right. So those are the two stocks that we have. So let me just make note of it in here, because when we come back on Friday to review with you, all right, we will talk about Lotus, like just what we did last Friday, and we have Monday as a public holiday, Censof and Scomnet, which is technology in Christ. So when you pick stocks, remember, you want to pick stocks, first have the right setup, have some sort of earnings play, have some sort of sector play. That way, your chance of making money will be much higher. Again, not all trade works, okay? We want to be the probability on our side. If what I say this makes sense, just give me a thumbs up, all right? Do share this in your timeline too, all right? So tonight is the night where we talk about the KLSE 5G counter craze. That's right. Tonight I'll be talking about something that I've shared in sometime in this year, I believe January, the 5G counter. So it is more of a news update, as well as some of the counters I've seen has done pretty well. So make sure you catch me tonight 9:30 p.m. Same place, same channel in here. We talk about the tech boom stock in the post-COVID-19. Another exciting topic that we have for you. And also don't forget, Coach Arif will be with you tomorrow for a trading investing topic on Thursday night, 9:30, and follow on Friday will be Zac at 9:30. And then Saturday, we will have a special topic for you at 2 p.m. So there will be lots of program. Trade VSA as a TV channel where we will fill with you with lots of good information, trading investment that will put money in your pocket. And don't forget, thank you to all of you who have joined us so far in reaching a great milestone for our Telegram trading idea, Trade VSA. We have hit 6,000 members. We like to make more than that, about maybe 10 to 20,000 in there, where a lot of our information that we have are free. Do share this slide and this QR code with your friends so they would benefit too. So with that, I will end our breakfast show, Money Talk with Smart Robie. I'll see you tonight at 9:30 p.m. Thank you for watching, and thank you for sharing your time with us and sharing this video in your timeline. Bye-bye.